Okay, Hades Mega here, and it's the next day, and Hades Mega is going to try and tighten his headset up with this new headset dealie here. Okay, with the Warp9 headset. All right, the new headset steering lock dealie. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to I've got it on the stand right here. Okay, so it's on the stand, and I got it at a height where the wheel is still touching the ground, all right? Because if you loosen all this stuff, it's just gonna fall, all right? Your fork is just gonna fall off, all right? So that's the reason I don't have it all the way up in the air, all right? So it doesn't just fall out of the bike, okay? Okay, on my bike, so make sure you got all the torque settings for whatever fork that you've got, all right, and the stem, all right? So these are going to be really important. So mine has this little cover over it. I guess we're not going to be, well, I don't know, we might be able to use it on a new one, I'm not sure. We'll take that rubber cap off. Okay, and then the first thing we're going to do is just start loosening stuff, all right? So ultimately in the end, what holds everything up together, or like how you really only use this for tightening, all right? The star nut is really only used for adjusting the headset. But what locks everything in is the steering stem and the upper clamp, okay? So once these are loosened, the fork will drop out of the bike, okay? So what I'm first do is loosen the top cap, all right? And like I said, the fork is still on the ground, so, I mean, the wheel is still on the ground. I'm not sure if this star nut has moved at all right? So I don't know. I don't know if it's true, what Warp9 says, all right? But I took the top cap off. We're not going to use that anymore. Okay, I'm gonna mark. Oh, I'm not going to mark the handlebar. Yeah. So I've already marked the handlebar where I'm going to put it back. All right. So I made some silver. I used some silver marker, and I marked where the straight position on the handlebar is, so I don't have trouble looking for it. Okay. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to loosen the stem. Okay. Then I'm going to and then we're going to loosen the upper clamp bolts, all right? So my Dorado fork has two here and then one in the center, okay? And make sure you got all the torque specs and everything for this, so you know how tight to make it when you put it back together. It's probably different for every fork. I have the ones from the Dorado manual, so. Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure that this one has like these locking washers on it. Make sure that those are free, and then that means like it will fall off now, okay? Oh, also, there's another thing we got to do. We've got to get rid of this star nut, okay? Yeah, actually, we should have done that first. Because it might just fall over. Yeah, in fact... Okay, so Hades Mega is going to attempt to remove the star nut, all right, guys? So what I'm going to use to do that with is I'm going to use a 3/8 extension, all right? A pretty long one. I think this is like 12 inches or something. And a dead blow hammer, all right? So... I'm thinking maybe we could go straight down like this, all right? But we got a long way to go. We got to push that star nut all the way down there, all right? And you would need I don't even know if this is going to be long enough for that. So I'm thinking, let's start from the bottom, all right? Let me see if I can get it out from the bottom. If I can't get it out from the bottom, we got to force it all the way down the steering tube, okay? How easy would it be good? Okay, I'm gonna try to do it from the top. See how easy it moves, because it's not moving from the bottom. Oh yeah, it's moving from the top. Yeah, just go down all the way. Okay, so there's another thing that we could probably try to do is I could try to get a Dremel, a die grinder, and try to cut it so damage the star nut, basically. All right, cut the star nut so it doesn't grab onto the. Basically, it has teeth that grab into it. If you're trying to hit it from the bottom, the teeth will dig into the steering tube. So, I guess it's better to go from the top. All right, so we're gonna go from the top. Okay, here we go. I'm just gonna whack it. It's probably safer if we go from the top too. Oh yeah. So what? So what? One dangerous thing that could happen is the star nut could suddenly shoot out the bottom, and then this will just go straight down, and then my hand will hit the handlebar or something. All right. So be careful. Or yeah, I could smash my hand with the hammer. Oh, there we go. Now it's really moving. All right, I'm not gonna hold it anymore. There's a lot of dirt in there. What am I doing with this thing? Oh, there we go. All right, there we go. It's out of there. I saw a bunch of metal shavings come out with it. So, all right. Haze Omega tried to do it from the bottom, but it's too hard, man. That star nut is just, see the way that it's shaped? Yeah, I don't think we could use this anymore either, too. So, all right, throw that in the garbage. So you can see all the shavings and the dirt that came out of the steering tube. All right. Yeah, wow. That's what I wanted to avoid. I didn't want any damage. I didn't want it to scrape up the steering tube all that bad. All right, so now we can go put our I'm not going to use any of these spacers because I've already got one already on there. All right, to set the height. All right, so basically you want this, your steering stem. All right, if you're using a direct stem, then you got to do it the way, you know, whatever, you have to use the spacers. All right, but you want this to be taller than the steering tube, all right? Or because if it's not, it's got nothing to pull up. It can't tighten it anymore, okay? So as long as you got a gap right here, all right, the gap from the top of the steering stem to the steering stem, all right, I mean the handlebar stem to the steering tube, you're good, okay? So that's why I got this little spacer on there, all right? Okay, now you're gonna want to get the nut that goes on the bottom. Actually, okay, so from now on, you're gonna have to use a 6mm Allen wrench to tighten the cover. All right, the top cap. All right, and then you're gonna put this in from the bottom. All right, okay, you're gonna want to put this on the bottom. All right. Okay, and at some point it's gonna touch it. If you guys are wondering when it starts engaging the threads, that much. All right, you got about an inch. It'll start engaging the threads, okay? You figure they probably have this, engineered so it fits different forks, okay? Okay, there it's kind of tight right now, all right, but I'm not going to tighten it all the way yet. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is I'm trying to keep it from spinning on the bottom, all right? I'm holding the nut with my hand right here. And then I've already loosened the clamps for the upper clamp or upper crown, and then I'm just going to start tightening it until I can get it where I want it. All right, and then you'll see the fork start to slide up into the clamp when you tighten it. Oh, there we go. It's moving a little bit. Okay, so now what you're going to want to do, you're going to want to start checking your how tight you want it. All right. So start tightening this, all right? And it's just this game of, you know, getting it the right tension. You don't want it too tight. You don't want it too loose either. Okay, I'm going to tighten the top clamp again. I'm going to try to align my handlebars a bit. Okay, and I'm going to tighten this. Tighten the stem. Okay. Okay, and then now I'm going to want to lift the bike up so I can move the handlebar nice smoothly. Alright, so I'm going to start lifting the bike up. The fork shouldn't drop out of the bike because everything's tight now. Okay, I've got it so the wheel is off the ground now. Okay, you can see the wheel spins. Okay, and then I'm going to want to move the handlebar left and right and see if I like it. I think it's kind of loose still. Alright, you also you want to check for play in the steering stem. Alright, you could do that by sitting. And what I'm going to do is give it front brake. Alright, I'm going to give it front brake and then kind of lift the bike up and kind of feel for looseness in the fork. Alright, and it's still loose. I see the cup moving around a little bit, so that means we got to tighten it some more. Alright. Yeah, you know, and then you could probably do it while you're sitting on the bike. That's what I'm going to do the rest of the time. Alright, guys. So now it's just a game of trying to get it how tight you want the headset. Alright, so I'm going to loosen this again. Okay, so now I haven't tightened everything yet, but I'm gonna get it back on the stand. Okay, jack it up all the way until the wheel leaves the ground. All right, see if you like that. Oh, it's a little tight. Is that okay? So the way I don't know. I know on a motorcycle, you want it at the point where you could just touch the handlebar and it'll start moving on its own. And I think it's too tight. So, so I'm gonna go loosen it. Okay. There we go. That's a lot better. Okay. If you want to make it a little bit extra tight, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Get it the way that you feel you want it, you know. But there shouldn't be any play here. You shouldn't see this cup moving around, alright, where the bearings are. You shouldn't see that moving around at all. Okay, so I think I got it how I want it. Okay, I'm going to tighten the center one here, so this won't move anymore. Okay. And then I'm going to try to adjust the height of this. Okay, but I think that's okay. So if it's a little tight, I think it'll be okay. It'll loosen up on its own. And I'm going to start tightening these ones. Upper clamp. Okay, so like I mentioned, if you got a different fork than a Dorado, you probably won't have this problem with them coming up crooked and stuff. Like this, I think this will only happen on this fork, because there's no fork brace. All right, is what I'm going to say. There's nothing linking the two brakes. There's nothing linking the two forks together on the Dorado except for the clamps. Okay. Okay. Clamp is tight. Okay, I think the handlebar is centered already, so I'm going to go ahead and start tightening the handlebar stem, and that one is 8 Newton meters. Okay, somewhere around here. Okay. Okay. Okay, and then that's it. Pretty much, it's on there. So you might want to I don't know. So you can do whatever you want with this top cap. I don't really know. Warp9 didn't give a torque spec for this, so I'm going to use whatever the torque spec is. You could take it off if you wanted to, okay? You don't even have to have that on there, okay? All this does, all right, all the steering lock, stem lock does is all it is it pulls it tight when you're adjusting it. That's all it is, all right? And then after that, it's just a freaking cover, all right? So so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make it so the Warp9 logo, you can see it straight up and down. Okay, and tighten it. All right, I don't know what the torque should be. I would say, you know what? You could probably use the same torque that you use for the clamps. This is much stronger. All right, this is much stronger than the star nut. All right, the reason that you don't want to tighten the star nut too much is because you'll start pulling it up. Okay, so this one is just a bolt attached to a nut. So all we got to do, I'm gonna tighten it to 11 Newton meters, just like the clamps, okay? That way it keeps everything simple. I don't have to remember everything. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this. All right, and it's just, all it is just, it just sandwiches everything, all right? But it's not really doing anything right now because everything is all torqued in, all right? And that should be it, all right? It looks like it's nice and tight. It looks like it's a little too tight, but I think that's fine. What I'm going to want to do is drop the bike, all right, and get on it. All right, move it. Make sure it's not binding or anything, for one thing, all right. And then yeah, move the handlebar every direction, all right. It feels good. And then you're going to want to give it front brake, all right? Here's my finger right here, front brake, and then start rocking it back and forth, okay? And make sure you don't feel any play in it, okay? And I don't feel any play. Maybe a little, I'm not sure. Yeah, you shouldn't. You want to watch this cup here, all right? Where the cup, where the bearing is. You want to make sure that doesn't move around, okay? Because if it's loose, it does move around, all right? And it's freaking annoying. I have to do it a lot. That's why motorcycle stuff is better. You don't have to do this all the time. Okay, there it is. It's installed. All right. So we had to remove the stem nut. All right, the star nut. I mean, all right, for it to work. But there it is. There's the top cap right here. I don't have a little rubber cover like the old one did. All right, but it's aluminum. It shouldn't rust. Okay. But yeah, dirt and stuff could get in there. I wish there was a cover. All right. And then, yeah, so the cover I'm talking about is this. Okay, so this is the little cover I'm talking about. This, I don't think you can put this back. It won't stay in there. See, it's too small now. The nut's much. I mean, the bolt is a 6mm it takes to tighten it now, instead of the 5mm it was before, all right? But that's good because you can put more torque into it, cranking it down, all right? Also, you could remove it if you wanted to, all right? Once everything's tightened, all it is just tightens everything, all right? But there it is. There's the bottom nut, all right? As you can see, it's a little crooked right now. In a later video, Hades Omega will try to install a fender on it, all right? This fender right here, all right? So that'll be for a separate video. There's two 5mm threaded holes in here, okay, that you can use to mount a fender, okay? So that's the plan. That's kind of one of the reasons I bought this, so I could install a fender. It's really secure. This isn't going to come out. Hopefully it doesn't come out. I hope it doesn't come out. I don't know if we were supposed to use any kind of Loctite on it, all right, guys? Because potentially this could work its way loose, and it'll just fall out, all right? And if your fender is attached to it, then your fender will fall out with it. Okay, so yeah, I'm not too. I don't know. Hades Omega kind of has mixed thoughts about this system, but well, I'll give it a try. Honestly, I wasn't having any problem with this, all right? One of the reasons that they stated was that when you're tightening the headset, this could slip in the stem. I've never had that problem before, so I don't know what they're talking about, but it's definitely beefier than that. You can crank down on the headset a lot more when you're tightening it, okay? like I mentioned, I have a Dorado fork, and you could potentially slide these these forks out one by one. Okay, each fork leg will come out. All right, you can't do that on most normal mountain bike forks. All right, like the so you can see that guy right there, like the RST fork. All right, the RST Killa fork, because it's got a fork brace. All right, so it keeps everything aligned all the time. All right, this one, they're independent. All right, like a regular motorcycle. All right, like a regular motorcycle. All right, you could make them different heights. All right, but you want them to be the same height. All right, guys. So I had that problem where this one was too high, and then this one would just stay here. It just wanted to stay there. So I said, hey, well, why don't I just lower this one? All right, so also you could adjust your ride height doing that too. Okay. But I think you've only got so much. Yeah, there's only so much that you could you could adjust this. Only this much right here. All right, so yeah, that's what I want to say. But that's if you have a Dorado fork. Okay. Okay, well there it is. It looks cool. I mean, definitely, it's very well made stuff. All right, Warp9. They make all this stuff in house. You know, it's got an aluminum bolt. It'll never rust. It's an anodized black. It'll never rust. All right, and then you've got a more secure system of how to tighten this stuff, and then also you potentially have a mounting point for a fender. Okay, but I will make a fender video, installation video, in another video. Okay. Okay, there you go. That was $40 from Warp9. Well, I will, if I have any problems with it in the future, I will do a follow-up review. But for now, I think it seems okay. All right, I'm just gonna take a quick ride around the block, see how it feels. Yeah, I've been having problems with my headset getting loose kind of often, but I ride this bike really hard, so that's one of the routine maintenance things you should be doing on your Suron is checking this headset bearings, all right? Because they like to come loose. That's what I'm going to say. All right, I know I should probably take all this stuff out and inspect the bearings every once in a while. But I know when I put the bearings in there, they were fine. So, but every once in a while, yeah, you should probably take all that stuff apart and take a look at the bearings in there. All right? Maybe you might need to replace it or something. All right. One thing I kind of don't like is, yeah, it's hard to get this stuff centered. All right. This top cap doesn't want to stay here. I'm trying to get the Warp9 logo to stay at the 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock positions, and then this doesn't stay here. All right. This could potentially rotate. All right. Does that move with it? Oh yeah, it does move with it. Yeah. So I mean, I guess if you have a fender on there, it won't do that. All right, because the fender will help keep it aligned. But yeah, it's kind of annoying is what I would say. All right, and like I said, potentially if this loosens, and if it loosens enough, this could just drop out of here. Okay, so all right, well that's all I got for the Warp9 was it is a steering stem adjustment bolt set. All right, I hope that was informative. We'll see how it does in the future. All right, how it does. So we'll see if I have any problems with it in the future. I will make another video about it. All right, but I'll do a follow-up video in the future, how this works out. All right, here we go. Okay, so the last thing I want to say is, like, yeah, you should take your bike out for a test ride. All right, take it out there. Make sure your handlebars are straight for one thing. All right, if you're using a direct stem mount, it doesn't matter. It'll be straight no matter what. All right, but if you have one of these clamp-on mountain bike stems, then make sure that's straight, and then just ride it to make sure nothing is kind of loose or anything. Okay, and make sure, yeah, you double check the torque on everything. All right, here's my out.